Hello guys, this is FX Bright, the trade guru. So on this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the different kinds of support and resistance and how to trade support and resistance with precision. Trust me, you've never seen this on YouTube. So please like and subscribe and turn on the bell notification. All right, so let's get right into it. Now listen, there are two kinds of support and resistance. The angular support and resistance, then you have the horizontal support and resistance. I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about. When I say the angular support and resistance, I'm basically talking about trend lines. Trend lines are support and resistance in an angle, while you understand the basic support and resistance of the horizontal line. So what I'm saying is this: you see the price moving like this, for instance. So what made the price to come down at this point and at this point, because this point is lesser than this, is in lower high than this point, this point is a lower high than this point is a lower high than this point. What I'm saying is that this point is higher than this point. What I'm saying is this point is higher than this point, which is higher than this point, which is higher than this point. So if you draw a line, you will see that this is an angular line. It is not a straight line. So guys, forgive my drawing. So you look at the downside of it. You can see how it was forming a lower low on this particular side, and you can draw a line on it, and you can see that this line is also in an angle. So what I'm saying is that these kind of resistance are called the angular resistance, whereas you have the vertical and the horizontal resistance, where price, for instance, moves in a range, right? In a range. So it's possible for you to draw a zone here and call that point the support, right? You draw another zone here and call the point the resistance. No. So for those of you who are new to trading, what the support basically mean is that when price, let me show you in a clear chart, and I know some people are already professional, they want to go straight to the video, but let me just do this for the purpose of the new guys. So basically, when price comes down, it finds a support somewhere, and this support are basically people who are trying to buy the market. So because they are enough on this point, they fill in their orders here and the price goes up, right? Then it meets a lot of sellers on this top who are trying to sell the market. So they sell the market and the market starts coming down, then comes back to meet the buyers, buy the market, it goes up. Sellers around here sell the market, it goes down. So in the long run, the market looks something like this. So with this whole movement in a straight line. So this is called resistance zone, while the bottom is called the support zone. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same thing that tallies with the trend line I was showing you about. All right, guys. So on this chart, what you can see is price being in an angular support and resistance, which is called a trend. So I'm going to pull out a tool and connect the trends. Guys, this is an old chart, but I just want to show you guys something very, 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 very important. Very important. Now, listen, I've been able to connect these lines together. And like I always tell you guys, when you get the top of the trend, you can always get the bottom of the trend by just replicating the same line in parallel. In other words, I'll just draw a line close to this one, ensure that it's parallel enough, and I transfer it to the bottom. The moment you transfer it to the bottom, you see that place was a perfect place to trade the trends. Now guys, listen, some people find it difficult to understand this thing. Now listen, if this is where the price was, let's assume the price was coming down like this, came all the way down and got to this point and touched this point and starts going up. Because of these two inclinations, this one and this one, this is most likely the line I will draw first. Then I will draw this line first and transfer it to the top. Immediately remember, price already came here to hit this point. Remember, how do you even know the trend line is about to start? Because I see one of the most difficult things people are stuck in is they do not know when to start drawing trend lines, or there's the saying online that you have to wait for 3 touches, and most times in the fourth touch, the price is about to break it, so you are almost late to trend lines, because you are looking for 3 touches, and in the fourth touch is when you want to start trading. You want this, then maybe here is where you start trading the buy, and you miss out all this whole move because you're waiting for 4 touches to draw your trend line. So you understand what I'm saying? And before you know, this is possible that this is the touch you're about to enter, and before you know that this is the touch that is coming down. Meanwhile, you're waiting for 4 or 5 touches before you're able to draw your trend lines. But I'm trying to make you guys understand something. You can start drawing your trend lines the moment you find the first touch, the second touch, and you can see price bouncing off. What you quickly do is that you pull out this trend line to touch these two inclinations and stretch it all the way to the future. Then you take a parallel line of this one and transfer it to the top. Just transfer it to this first guy because this first one would have formed. I'm saying that assume price was coming like this, came here, hit here, came here, hit here, and came down to hit here. Because of these three moves like this, your trend line is already sure to be drawn. Now, I'm not telling you to wait for everybody to start forming 3-4 lines and stuff like that before you start taking your trend lines. I'm saying that 1, 2, 3, you have already started drawing trend lines. Now, the fact that you're drawing trend line doesn't mean the trend line will work. Price might just come down and break it. Then you find another trend line to draw. But you must keep understanding the concept behind drawing the trend line so that you'll be able to spot it when the time arises. So for this time, when the market hits here, came up and hit here again, you have already drawn this bottom trend line, touching this one and this one alone. So now the price is going up. As the price comes up, remember, as you've already drawn this one, you've already taken this parallel and taken it to the top. So you would have been able to trade this particular side of the trend line. So what I'm saying is this. So this particular side has now become a resistance zone. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you're not just going to come and trade because price has gotten to this point. What you need is the combination of angular resistance and horizontal resistance. So if you cannot find the horizontal resistance when price gets to the angular resistance, you have no business taking that trade. So what I'm saying is, at this particular point, you need to be able to look to your left and find a horizontal resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my zone 2 and I'm going to put it here so you can see that this particular point was a horizontal resistance. So if you get what I'm saying, you can see how price was able to come to this point, bounce, broke it, came up, bounced a little bit. So you can see that this point was a support and a resistance at some point. So you can see how the price was going. So immediately price was coming all the way to closing up to this my angular trend line here. I can see that this horizontal resistance was also here. So the confluence of angular and horizontal is what you trade. Now, for instance, if I look to my left and I didn't find all this here, even if the market comes up to this point, I will not trade this as a resistance zone because it's not valid until I look to the left and I'm able to find these moves on the market, that the market was able to find some kind of support and resistance on this particular point. Then I will trade the confluence on this point. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So this is how to trade it, guys. So when the market was coming down, it came up, whatever it was doing, then it came back to this particular line. What I'm interested in this particular line is not just this particular point, but I'm interested to see if there is another resistance that can make a confluence with it. So there are two things involved here. So if you look to the left of this particular point, you can see how this point was also phased with the resistance traveling on its own. Now what I'm saying is this: if you look at this particular line, you can see that here there was another angular resistance coming here and stretched all the way, and they had a confluence on this particular point. This is what I'm trading. So you see what I'm talking about. In this first place, I was able to trade this angular resistance with a horizontal resistance. All of them had a confluence here. In this second place, the reason I would trade this is because another angular resistance was traveling and came all the way to this other. So two angular resistance came together and formed me a trade. So my sell here will be based on this confluence. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at this particular point here again, the same reason I will be selling is if I draw. Now guys, you have to practice so you can be able to see these things with precision. If you come here and you draw another line, you see, you can see how price you can see how price was able to come here and bounce off this this horizontal resistance traveling all the way to this point. So this particular place became a confluence of two resistance, the angular one and the horizontal one. In this particular point, it was two angular resistance. In this particular point, it was the horizontal one and the angular one. So you can see how price was able to do all that in these particular places. And now price, I would be selling at this point because I can find this particular stuff here, and price came down. Now price is coming up. Now look at the difference between them and this one. If I stretch up this line, you will see how price was a little bit, how this our angular resistance now had a differential with the horizontal resistance. So there was now space. It was not as confluence as these ones. You can see it was not as, this one now was a little bit on top, and so price was able to break this one and break this one. Why? Because they are not strong enough when they are separate. You understand what I'm saying? But when they meet together at a confluence point, you understand that that place is very strong. So price was able to deal with them one after the other and finally found a way to break. Now listen, guys, believe you me, you would not see this thing anywhere on Facebook or on YouTube. So please learn it. Please learn it so you can be very profitable. So this is how to trade the support and the resistance, guys. These are, I don't want to make this video excessively long, but I hope you've been able to take some things out of this particular video. So guys, I will see you guys in my next video. Please like and subscribe. I don't know why you're not subscribed. Like and subscribe, my guy. All right, guys, I'll see you guys in my next video.